I've always wanted to learn another language. Like I said, you hear these stories where you kind of start speaking in local language and kind of people start looking after you kind of differently and kind of just friendlier and you know what I mean, kind of, I just want to be able to communicate. And
what had you tried before we met to learn Spanish?
I've done Duolingo, I've done apps, I've done Memrise, I've done YouTube videos. So yeah, I've done a few things. But once you get to a certain level, you get frustrated because you have to hold up for other people.
How confident were you feeling?
2, 3, you're always on that fear kind of behind it, where you're not going to, I'm too scared to ask something, or you kind of say it quite quietly and then you just kind of revert back to English quite quickly.
How confident would you feel to travel to Spain, speak to someone?
The last time I went to Spain in May, in the hotel, the guy who was in the bar was like kind of buzzing, like, oh, you're the Spanish speaking one, and being on some calls and stuff like that, people have complimented on my Spanish. It's not just transactional, you're not just asking for something and maybe like, here you go, and you're like, thanks. It's like you kind of ask for something and then it kind of develops into a conversation. I mean, you kind of attract the right kind of people with the right attitude that all want to learn and progress, providing a safe space for everyone to communicate.
Hola, Cris.
Hola.
Muy bien, ¿y tú qué tal?
Y bien, bien.
Genial. How was your day? Good?
Yeah, good. Just going to get busier. Someone dropped on a project, has brought some dates forward, so I'm like, other than that, I'm good. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm very, very good. Very good. Yes, good. Okay, so well, as I told you, I just want to trace back a little bit how everything has been. I think your story and experience can really inspire other students. And yeah, I just want you to be completely honest on what your experience has been, your impressions. I personally believe that your learning process is very, very good, both you and Rosie, actually. I told Rosie before, you're one of my favorite students, I have to say. You personally have a very good energy, lovely sense of humor. I have to say, I love your sense of humor. And apart from that, of course, the time and the intention and the commitment that you put into all this is very noticeable, and it's of course paying off. And from my point of view, your progress is just amazing. It's very, very good. When I see you there having the conversations with Rosie, we do the whole lessons in Spanish. You have conversations in the lessons, outside the lessons, with natives, with the rest of the students. It's just impressive. So big congratulations.
Well, thank you. Because it's all, I mean, we kind of put the work in, but if it isn't without your guidance and structure and kind of path to get to where we are, or where we want to get to as well, then we wouldn't be there. I kind of wish I'd stumbled across you a few years ago, but kind of passed the line for the right reason, the right time, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of obviously at a time where I'm like, right, I've had enough. I want to progress. And then I've been thinking about it. I've been looking for tutors for a while. Next thing I know, your profile pops up on Instagram, and I'm like, perfect. And yeah, it's worked out. So thank you.
Yeah, perfect. It's 100%, as you say, it's a bi-directional thing. So yeah, all right. So let's just trace a little bit back how everything has been. First, Chris, why do you want to learn Spanish?
I've always wanted to learn another language. I think I've traveled. I was born in Germany. I've lived, because my parents were in the army, I've lived in different countries for short periods of time. And I just like the idea that, I hate the fact that like we, as in England, we don't kind of make any effort to learn. You see all these other cultures, like Scandinavian countries that can speak 5 languages through school and things like that. And obviously you got Spanish people in places where we go abroad to on holiday. They obviously learn English because there's a lot of us coming over, but we don't make the effort to do the same thing. So I want to be able to kind of speak to people, and like I said, you hear these stories where you kind of start speaking in local language and kind of people start looking after you kind of differently and kind of just friendlier, and you know what I mean, kind of, I just want to be able to communicate, and then if that language opens another door to kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, I just want to be able to communicate and always learn.
Is it to travel mainly?
Yeah, I just like to be able to kind of travel, go to different, I mean, Spain, I kind of feel like one of the most spoken languages, kind of it's kind of not just limited to one country, right? It's kind of, you've got other places where you can go, slightly different, but they're going to understand you when you kind of get there. And it'd be kind of nice to go and visit those places and not have to worry about trying to get by, and just like have those conversations, and just I like chatting to people. So if I can chat to them in their own language, then that'd be really cool.
Okay, great. And what had you tried before we met to learn Spanish?
I've done like classes with big groups. I've done like I've done like textbooks, trying to read books. I've tried to watch TV series on Netflix. Done Duolingo. Kind of still on there, but just kind of more for like, if there's any vocab that pops up, I don't kind of focus on it. It's just more of a, if I've got 5 minutes while I'm at work, I can just kind of quickly try and see if I can do anything. But I think I'm potentially going to stop now, because I'm like, right, I'm just going to focus on this bit. But I've done Duolingo, I've done apps, I've done Memrise, I've done YouTube videos. So yeah, I've done a few things. But yeah, but like I said, it's kind of, it can help you kind of to a point where you can kind of pick out Spanish words and read them and kind of write them down and like construct sentences, like how to do that. But it's not going to get to that point where you need to speak it and practice it, because you're never going to get, you're always on that fear kind of behind it where you're not going to, oh, I'm too scared to ask something, or you kind of say it quite quietly and then you just kind of revert back to English quite quickly. So yeah.
So you think is that interactive, communicative part where you
Yeah.
can a world with these kind of resources, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end of the day, unless you want to be a translator or something like that, when you want to learn Spanish, is because you want to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Actually, when you say I can speak a language, it's because you can speak it, not because you can read it or write it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, was that the limitation that you found out of all these, whether it was YouTube, Netflix, apps?
Yeah, because I think it's kind of, obviously with Netflix, you kind of look at series that you kind of might like, but then it's understanding the level. Like you said, I'm probably not Money Heist. I'm probably understanding like 10% of it, so it's not going to really help because I'm not going to see that development. Classes, you kind of, someone's always going to be further along, or the class is only going to go slow or tailored to the person with the least amount of Spanish. So kind of, although it's good to kind of get that initial understanding of verbs and things like that, then, but once you get to a certain level, you're going to get frustrated because you have to hold up for other people. Whereas if you've got a private tutor, it's tailored to you, you can have that. That structure kind of can develop quite quickly and change. So kind of you set it out, and then if it turns out, oh, actually we're picking up stuff quicker, or this is not quite working, you can change it. Whereas it's quite structured for a group, you kind of can't change that format structure.
Yeah. Did you ever try group lessons?
So yeah, I did like 10, 12-week classes. So kind of with beginners plus, intermediate, like I said, and then took a little break. What's that, sorry?
You were all mixed up, beginners, intermediate.
No, so it was kind of set to like beginners only, and then kind of you moved up. Like once you finished that, you could sign on to the next one. So I kind of did a couple of classes of that. Then a friend said he wanted to learn Spanish. I went back to the beginning with him to kind of like have that accountability, have someone to kind of chat to a bit easier. But then trying to get on classes is, once the bookings go up, you sometimes can't get on the right class, and then you kind of miss a bit. So yeah, it was good for like help, but it isn't going to get me to where I want to be.
Yeah. How did you feel? Like, what was your impression from those lessons? What do you think was lacking?
It's quite like, it's very structured. So it's kind of more like, because the guy was a teacher, I think he taught in a school, and he was really good at what he taught, but it was kind of like, you can only go, right, this week we're doing this. But it's for everyone. So you kind of might spend more time kind of going over stuff because other people need to kind of understand it a bit more. So you kind of, that hour soon gets taken up by multiple people if you need to kind of try and get your head around it. Whereas if you're quick to get it, then you're kind of stuck at whoever's pace you kind of follow him.
Yeah.
But,
and how long were the lessons?
I think they were like hour and a half, maybe. It's like just under like over an hour. Yeah, hours a week in a class, which is good. I quite liked because it was kind of, you've got that interaction, if you know what I mean. But and you just, that it was more the accountability to kind of study outside of it if you've got a class to go to. So kind of, and I think that's what tutor works well as well, because you've got that, it's not just about a plan, it's almost kind of like, right, I'm going to be speaking with someone every week, I need that kind of motivation and accountability as well.
Out of that 1.5 hours, how much did you speak? How much time did you spend actually speaking or interacting with someone?
You get like split into pairs, so like kind of, you like on a small scale, so you kind of ask a question and then respond back, so you kind of learn a little bit, but a lot of it's like theory, and then you do a little bit of practice, and then you go away and then come back. So which is useful when my mate was doing it, because we could meet up afterwards, but it's hard to meet up with busy schedules where kind of you're doing online and it's a bit easy to kind of quick ping in the chat, like who wants to jump on. Yeah, it was good for like structure and understanding verbs, which is kind of probably why I understand the conjugations a bit from that. So that kind of helps, but yeah, nothing to do with the actual speaking part.
Okay, so it kind of gave you that foundation, that theory.
Yeah.
But it was that interactive part that you were lacking.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's not kind of from a social kind of thing. You like a lot of the topics, you kind of structure and things like that, you probably wouldn't naturally have a conversation about. It's kind of all about like kind of schools and things like that, and like certain kind of structured topics to help imprint the foundation. But are you going to use those in real world? Possibly not. Helped with the foundations, but yeah, where I think kind of yours is you kind of spend a bit of time on the theory. Like you have to spend some time on the theory, but it's not predominantly the theory. It's kind of right. Here's what you kind of need to think about, but it's all about the communication and putting that into practice. And more in a real world kind of sense, how you'd actually potentially use it, rather than being like very grammatically correct. It's kind of sound like a natural. Sometimes you have to forget about the grammar, which I kind of feel is like why when other people come and ask English people, why do you say that for? Like in a way we say it, we're like, I don't know, that's how we speak. You know, it's hard to like explain sometimes with English grammar because you've learned it so long ago when you're at school. Don't do much after, but then that's how you don't speak. You're just aware that how it is. Where I kind of feel like Spanish is a bit easier because the grammar doesn't change too much, but how you kind of change it naturally does involve some of the grammar, I think.
How do you find the approach that we use here, which is you do that theory, that learning the grammar, the structures at home, with videos explaining you this is the present, this is the past, and then use the whole hour of the lesson to actually speak and interact?
Yeah, I love that because it's kind of like, I think when you're trying to fit time in outside of a lesson to kind of commit to kind of doing the like learning, like practicing Spanish and things like that, it's that bit that you can kind of do on your own. You don't need to be on a call with someone, if you know what I mean. You can sit and go, right, okay, I'm going to do the theory tonight, or listen to a song, or kind of do a bit of watch some videos and review back. You can kind of structure your time because you've got all the material there, and then when you get to a call, you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to try and use that in, and kind of try and slip in some of the keywords that we learn each session, and on the documents I'm kind of I'm going to slip in there and kind of try and add that into your conversation to sound more natural.
Mm-hmm. And counting everything, like the lessons, the app, Duolingo, and watching things here and there, how long did you learn Spanish before we met each other?
There's been on and off for a few years. I still think Duolingo's always been a constant. I've listened to podcasts on Spotify and things like that. So it's kind of, I've tried all different techniques. So I'd say it's been on and off for a few years. I've been trying to, and I can like,
if you had to number, how many years more or less?
Let me see. Moved down in 2015 to Bristol, probably from 2017, 2018 to now. So you're talking what, 5 years plus.
Well, if it was 2017, that's what you said. That's 8 years.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. Massive.
Okay, so 8 years. And again, before we started together, how, on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident did you feel to your objective? Traveling, communicating, speaking to people, having nice chats. How confident were you feeling?
Not very confident. I mean, I could ask for a drink or order something off a menu in Spanish, like, but that's about it. I could answer a couple of basic questions.
Just like 1 minute, 2 minute conversation, but then you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to throw a number from 1 to 10, was it a 3 out of confidence, maybe?
Yeah, 2, 3. I mean, obviously, once I've had a drink, my kind of recognition, like ability to bring stuff forward without fear, kind of reduces. So you can kind of naturally, that hesitation doesn't appear. So you can kind of be a bit more natural and don't have that fear of getting it wrong. So you just kind of have a go. Whereas now, I think I can definitely speak to someone, have a go, and get my point across.
And what about the inside, the plan? We've been working together for 5 months already. How have you seen the ongoing process, the lessons, the workshops, speaking to other students, with natives? How have you found?
Yeah, really good. Like speaking with some of the natives, I kind of feel like I can pick up a lot more words than I probably thought I could do previously. Some of the accents are a bit strong, but that's probably more beneficial learning from different accents than having a standard Spanish one. But yeah, I kind of really enjoy it. It's definitely helped and being on some calls and stuff like that, people have complimented how my Spanish is, like some of the groups. So I'm kind of it's quite nice to hear. So yeah, and I think it's definitely improved it. Definitely some of my pronunciations and sounding more Spanish than just a.
What was that? That someone told you in the group?
Yeah. So I had a call with Heidi and she said like my Spanish is really good, and I said thanks. So that you'll get there as well. I'm kind of aware that I've been doing Spanish a lot longer than a few people, even before joining you. So my Spanish is probably going to be, my basic Spanish might be a little bit better than people just starting out fresh. But I just like, you will get there. And then once, you can tell with some people are in the head, people are trying to get it. And then once you kind of relax, you kind of say a phrase quite quickly. And I went, there, look, you did it I said, you were out of your head there, like in that little bit. And she's like, oh, I was like, oh, thanks. I was like, so you're trying to kind of compliment them to like, you know what I mean? It's just, they'll get there and kind of progress. And it's kind of nice to see everyone's journey and speaking with other people. And yeah, it's good. And it's kind of nice to see people that are further ahead as well, to kind of like, so you've got, okay, cool, I can see my next step. That's where I'm going to be in the kind of hopefully in the same amount of time. And it's kind of nice just to Whereas when you're doing it on your own and you're kind of doing all the apps and things like that, and you're trying to speak, then you don't see what your future progress could look like. So you get frustrated. Whereas kind of at the minute, it's like you might get a little bit frustrated, but it's kind of like, oh, but I know I've only just been doing it for such a short time with yourself, but you've seen what people are like with you being for longer. You know that you're going to get there.
Yeah, you kind of have like that horizon, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Push on, and you're. To me, it sounds like when you're doing it on your own, you're kind of lost in a sea, in an ocean,
Yeah.
as opposed to having other people around you who, if you feel frustrated, you know that they will have felt frustrated as well. And is that how it feels?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of like everyone's on the same path. Some are further ahead than they've started. You know what I mean? Some have just started the journey, but you can see that you can speak to people who had similar kind of, oh yeah, I was like that when I first started, and now I'm like here, and then they're speaking to people ahead of them, and you're like, okay, cool. They're kind of similar challenges, and yeah, everyone's had the same story. We've tried this, we've tried that, it hasn't worked, and then now you're seeing people a lot more confident and chatting. It's nice to see, and kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And what about now? How confident do you feel if you had to throw a number? How confident would you feel to travel to Spain, speak to someone?
Yeah, I'd be definitely, I'd say 5, 6, confident to start speaking. Whether I'd be able to maintain the conversation for as long as I want to be able to do in the future, but it's the more like I'm just going to start chatting. Like if I get it wrong, get it wrong. Whereas before you kind of like just ask for simple things, and kind of the things we learn are quite good. And like I said, yeah, the last time I went to Spain in May, in the hotel, the guy who was in the bar was like kind of buzzing. He's like, "Oh, you're the Spanish speaking one," and kind of like I was like, but I didn't speak that much, but he was just like buzzing. So we kind of ask some questions and carry it on. And so he was kind of happy to help me, if you know what I mean, because of the attitude and things like that. Whereas like sometimes it's just kind of like you ask for a beer or a drink or some food, and they'll be like, okay, and that's it. But he was kind of trying to like eke that little bit more out of me as we kind of went on. And I think that's how you show that kind of attitude, and you can speak a little bit more. Then they'll be like, okay, cool, I'll give a bit more time and effort with you. Whereas if
So you're not able to have that ongoing conversation as opposed to a conversation that lasts 30 seconds or 1 minute.
Yeah, so it's not just transactional. You're not just asking for something and they're like, here you go, and you're like, thanks. It's like you kind of ask for something and then it kind of develops into a conversation. So yeah.
Good. And how do you feel? How does that feel?
Yeah, good. Like I said, because I've always wanted to learn a language, and I see these videos of people kind of just speaking different languages and how they interact with people, and it's just, yeah, it's like giving me that real motivation to kind of stick with it and push on. And it's kind of nice having that chat with Rosie as well, because I think we kind of gel quite well, and it's kind of nice to have that little chat and like we can speak it. And sometimes when you drop off with your battery, we just kind of we just chat on and have a conversation as well, and kind of it's nice we get into flow a bit. I've got a call with her later at 2. We're gonna have some more practice, so yeah, it's good.
Okay, yeah, so that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, if we bring this down to earth a little bit into numbers, it's going from a 2 out of 10 of confidence that you achieved with 8 years on and off of learning, and then in 5 months, which is what we've been together for, more or less, going from that 2 to 6, you said. Yeah, so it's really good, and this is why I always say like you're one of my favorite students, and but yeah, you put all the effort and the time, and yeah, as I told you before, it's paying off, and I just can't continue to keep working with you. Can't wait. I mean, I can't wait to continue working with you. That's what I meant. And yeah, Chris, anything else you want to say? Anything you want to highlight from the process?
I just think it's like a really good group. I think you've got a knack of like choosing the right people and introducing them. I mean, you kind of attract the right kind of people with the right attitude that all want to learn and progress and kind of really interested in, and then everyone kind of gels, and it's kind of providing a safe space for everyone to communicate, because that's kind of key, right? To have that safe space where no one feels they can fail. It's all about kind of how we can continue, and it's kind of good how you in the chats you kind of do little corrections to kind of, and no one's kind of taking it in a bad way, like, oh great, that's better. It's like, you know what I mean? It's kind of slight little, oh just change that, and kind of everyone's like sweet, and everyone's just all for it, you know what I mean? It's kind of, that's what I mean, it's that safe space people can chat and contact each other and make phone calls. And
yeah, absolutely. As you very well said, not anyone is allowed to get into this group. I mean, I'm very picky when it comes to choosing people, and I really want to take care of this community that we have, and make sure that anyone who is here is willing to have that good energy, to put the time, to put that commitment, because if not, it's going to be a waste of time on your side and on our side. So yeah, it's about, as you very well said, choosing the right people to make that same
How are
process.
you finding it? You must be very proud and happy kind of what you've started and the community you're creating.
I'm super happy. So there's sometimes that I'm with my friends and I'm like super happy. Like, look at my students, they're having video calls with each other and they're speaking and they're sharing their songs and all these things. And my friends are like, "Are you crazy? You're obsessed with this." But it really makes me super, super happy and proud when I receive those messages like, "Hey, we just had a 1-hour conversation in Spanish and it was super fun." Or for example, James, did you know James?
No, I've seen him in the chat like recently about did he put in Spotify?
Yeah, that's it. He messaged me yesterday. He's in Sao Paulo in Brazil at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like what I posted in my stories, like Irene, I just had a conversation with this Colombian couple and this Peruvian woman, and yeah, it literally fills me with with pride. So I'm super, super happy. Yes. And yeah, when I see you guys interacting and having fun and making this a part of your life, is it's super enriching. It's the best present I can get, I have to say. All right, Chris, so thanks a lot for this chat. And yes, I'll see you la semana que viene, ¿no? Nos vemos la semana que viene.
Pongo mis deberes en el documento.
Sí, perfecto. Sí. Venga, Chris, pues muchas gracias.
Sí, adiós.
Un abrazo. Chao.
Bye.